Hello, welcome to another first appearance rating video. Let's start out with a modern books. I can tell you in 1985, my senior year in high school, for sure it's the first time in my collecting life that comic book started to not be as important as it used to be. From 1981 through 1984, I was extremely obsessed with it. I reread some of the books almost on a monthly basis for years. And then in 85, my senior year in high school, other things become more important, trying to get into college, pick the school, as well as I moved to a different area, so I don't get a chance to go to the local comic book store that often. I can only go maybe once a month. But one of the books that I picked up because it was recommended by the store owner was Swamp Thing. This was not the first issue I picked up. The very first issue that I picked up was issue 33. For those that are familiar with this series, issue 33 is the cover swipe of House of Secret 92. It's have a almost exact same cover. I thought that looked interesting, and the store owner told me that I should pick it up if I was looking for something different than the superhero titles. And I must say that I really didn't get it. Okay, I can honestly say that the 17-year-old kids in me, back at the 18, I was 18 by then, didn't really grasp the concept that Alan Moore put in the book. Certainly I love the art. Okay, so I did pick up this issue, and to be honest, I forgot all about these books until Christmas of 2013. I made a video where I show this among other books that I took out. So for a better part of almost 30 years, it was in a box with a bunch of other stuff, and I picked up issue 33 to 40 something. About a year worth, and by the time like 6 months into my freshman year in college, I think I dropped the title because I just wasn't interested in buying anymore. But now that I go back and look at the book, read it, it was okay. I'm gonna rate this book based on what Constantine was, not what he became and have his own series. So I'm trying to be as objective as I can. I reread the book just today to do this video. I will give a close-up look of this copy, a book that I bought off the rack back in, I think, April of '84, just a month or two before graduation of my senior year in high school. Interesting character. I don't think it was anything wow. If I think if I read this, certainly he's a welcome addition to the cast of Swamp Thing. For that, I gave him a 3.5 out of 5 as far as the name, the character, and what he's all about. As far as the story, once again, I gave it a 3.5. So altogether, get 7 out of 10. It was an interesting story. I think I liked the story more today than I did back in 1985. Okay, because back in 1985, I think I read it. I'm just like, wow, what is this all about? I'm so used to superhero stuff, so it was hard for my brain to process something that is non-superhero. Much like Ronin. The first time I read Frank Miller Ronin, the art blew me away, but the story kind of went over my head. I must have reread that book 2 or 3 times just to understand what was going on. But no doubt, I'm a big fan of the authors, the team of Rick Veitch and John Toboben. I think that's how you pronounce it, but I'll give a close-up look later. Yeah, so there you go. 7 out of 10. Okay, next is one, it's hard to have a hero of Galactus that does not have a high score. And no doubt, this guy, Terrax, got a pretty decent score. This is his first intro, issue 211. To get this whole story, I think you need to get, I can't find my 209. I think it's the cover that had the things on the cover. As far as the look and his power, I give him a 4 out of 5. Pretty cool. I like the way John Byrne created him. I like the way he looked. He's pretty cool. His personality. He's just a nasty. Up until that point, this may be the nastiest of all of Galactus hero. So he got a 4 out of 5 for me as far as the look, the power. The story itself, I'm not a big fan of. It's a fun story. It spanned from issue 209, 210, 211, and then it ended in 212, I think. I have 210, 211, and 212. I don't have 209. I had it. I can't find it anywhere. But I'm not crazy about the story because basically Galactus, the things was attacking Earth based on what I can remember of issue 209, and then the Fantastic Four asked Galactus for help because he was somebody that's powerful enough to deal with the things. And in order to agree to help them, Galactus tell them that you gotta go and recruit and get Terrax. Basically, I'm summarizing the story. So to me, that's kind of I didn't buy it because if Galactus wants something, he gets it. He doesn't need the Fantastic Four to go and get somebody for him. That being said, Terrax is just one bad man. I'll give a close-up look of this book. It has cool art by John Byrne and Joe Sinnott. It has a unique combination of John Byrne and Joe Sinnott because I think at this stage of the book they are trying to keep a consistent look of the characters. So I think Joe Sinnott had more influences on how things were drawn. Just my hunch from having many of the Fantastic Four back in the early 80s and late 70s. So this book, the story got a 3, the character got a 4, so a 7 out of 10 for Terrax. Okay. Last but not least is a character that definitely not an A level or B level or character. After you go from A to B, below B, I can't even give C or D. But he's definitely not an A or B level character in my opinion. But his movie, for me, put him into the B range. And then, no doubt his movies, his first 2 movies are 2 of my favorite Marvel superhero movies. I probably have seen those 2 movies more than any other Marvel movies. And of course we're talking about Blade. This is the nicest copy I have, and I will also give you a closer look at the end. Blade came out, and no doubt he's a good addition to the cast of this book. And I like it. I read this. I think for those Blade fan, having issue 10, 11, 12, and 13, having those 4 books will give you a good grasp of who Blade is and his personality, his origin. Is decent. Like I said, his look is nothing exciting, power, all that stuff. It's more so his personality. So for that, like I said, what he was in the comic book is nothing special. At best, I say average, but the movie has made him much more interesting in my mind. So I give him a 2.5 out of 5 as far as name, personality, power, all that stuff. He's average. Like I said, you know, if they didn't make a movie about Blade, I think most people would know who Blade is today. But you know, the story I give a 3. So this book have a 5.5 out of 10. The story was decent. The origin is really good. You know, if I was gonna rate the origin book issue 13, I give that story a 4. But this one get a 3. It's hard for me to give a high marks on the story of Dracula. Most often they are short, good read, fun read, but they don't leave me with the urge to like, I gotta get the next issue because some kind of cliffhangers. I must know something. So for that, for the most part, most Dracula story get a 3 out of 5 for me. So this book, 5.5 out of 10. Not a very high mark, but as far as a character that was on the big screen, he get a 9 out of 10. Those movies get extremely high mark for me. I might be in the minority, but I would rather sit down and watch that movie over many other Marvel movies any day of the week, because to me, the first two movies are pure fun. Thanks for watching. Bye. Okay, so here's a close-up view of the Tomb of Dracula 10. As you can see, beautiful razor sharp copy. Gorgeous book. Not the best centering, but this issue is one of those books that not easy to find with perfect centering, but I have no complaint. Beautiful white pages. Inside you have, of course, the work by Gene Colan, but for this issue, Jack Abel was the inker, and that's part of the reason why I did not give a higher mark on the story and art inside. I love Gene Colan, but I think Jack Abel is definitely not the best inker for his style, as you can see. For some reason, whenever I look at this book, and I flip through this book quite often, Jack Abel working on Gene Colan remind me of Klaus Janson. So there you go, that's the interior of this book. Next up, let's see, so here's what's remarkable about this copy is when I found this copy along with other Swamp Thing, they were not even in bags in board, and somehow they survive my lousy storage of them for 30 plus years, shockingly. As the Comic God had it, this book was preserved the best out of the dozen or so of Swamp Thing books that I have. The rest of the other book was very nice, but some of them get dinged up because I didn't store them correctly. But as you can see, 30 years, poorly stored book, still white inside. So as you can see, sometime under the right storage condition, the book can be preserved fairly well without a lot of stuff. As you can see, as many of this book fan is aware of the Constantine look and Sting look. Let me go to there's quite a few panels that are quite striking. There you go. I really like the style of the art and the way the panel was laid out in this series. It's pretty cool. Look at that. That's a pretty awesome looking page right there. Look at that. Don't that look like Sting? Last but not least, there you go. And as I mentioned before, this one have the work of John Byrne and Joe Sinat. Okay, and this book came out in 1979, so about the same time. John Byrne at one point of his career was doing the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, sometime Marvel Team Up, sometime Avengers, you name it. He was very prolific. One thing about John Byrne for sure that I don't think anyone can disagree is he's a very fast artist. And as you can see, the art here definitely, for most people, they can pick out that this is John Byrne work even without looking at the credit. Right there. Okay, there's a lot of telltale sign, even though I think Joe Sinat put a lot of his own imprint on these books. And there you go. That's the first time you see the man before he turned into Terrax. Like I said, back in those days, I think John Byrne as well as Joe Sinat was trying to draw a Fantastic Four the way Sal Buscema and other authors have been drawing, so to keep the consistency. So it's not the same style that John Byrne did once he took over the book a few years later. But for now, as you can see, look at the way the thing is, okay? It looked great, like I said, decent art. There you go, Galactus. Anyhow, that's it. Thanks for watching. Until the next rating video. Bye.